as inadequate as the PUC system in India currently is, our assessment of this regime in Delhi is that there are significant improvements in even achieving these very trivial or limited standards that the PUCC system kind of puts in place. In our work in testing the PUCC system, we kind of visited 22 randomly selected PUC centers across 9 districts in Delhi, and we found that at 5 of these centers, vehicle tests were being kind of failing almost on a continuous basis. In one case, kind of there was significant issues around leakages and corruption in terms of how the system was being operated. And the problem, I think, becomes a lot more worse, as Anirudh was also describing, when it comes to diesel vehicles, because the way the test is actually conducted, even in the limited opacity standard that exists, does not inspire a great amount of confidence. And we did observe a fairly significant amount of both violation, but also manipulation in the way the regime is being implemented there. So even moving from a point where we are today of inadequate implementation of the PUCC scheme to a point where remote sensing based very effective regime can be put in place in a city like Delhi or any of the urban agglomerations that we have around the country suffering from very terrible air quality, the impact can be extremely significant. And I'm sure that there are ways that we can also try and quantify that in terms of not just emission savings, but also in terms of improvements in the air quality and the necessary kind of impacts around health and life expectancy. And that's really the way one wants to kind of make this progress happen. This, the transition to remote sensing based emissions monitoring is clearly important, and I think is also a very significant way of taking away discretion in the way this regime of maintenance of vehicles or testing the maintenance of vehicles is actually implemented. The conversation that you just had with Murthy in terms of whether an age-based criterion is the appropriate one or not, and whether a new vehicle which is poorly maintained performs should be penalized more than an old vehicle that's better maintained. If you have this technology orientated regime which does not involve human discretion, I think one is able to take away a lot of the possibility of the potential for discretion as well as manipulation that would ordinarily happen when you are trying to kind of have these arbitrary standards being put in place. And that's really, I think, to me, the exciting part of making this improvement. And the fact of the matter is that from the work that Anirudh kind of presented, this is eminently doable with existing technologies and existing costs and existing regimes. And there is a legal framework to get that done. And that's really the path that EPIC has chosen to go down with the Transport Department in Delhi, where we are trying to kind of see how best can this regime be made more effective to meet the air quality that we truly, all of us deserve.